Mothers of the Orphans. In Mumbai in 2012, the International Women's Day event was a significant occasion, considering the recent horrific rape cases in India and the mass public demonstrations against such abuse. The keynote speaker was Sindhutai Sapkal, a 63-year-old woman. She was dressed simply in a traditional village sari. Her story brought the assembly to tears. Sindhutai had been raised in poverty in the state of Maharashtra. At age 6, he had longed to go to school, but her parents needed her to care for their small herd of water buffaloes. Every day, she would herd the large animals with a stick, eventually taking them to cool off in a nearby pond. The buffaloes would submerge themselves up to the neck, and Sindhutai would escape for a few hours of schooling. Because she always arrived late, her teacher beat her. While she was at school, the water buffaloes often wandered onto others' property, and those farmers would also beat her. Still, she said these were the best years of her childhood. Her childhood was over when she was 10 years old and was forced to marry a 30-year-old man. By 20, she had three sons and was pregnant with a fourth child. Over time, she learned that a local member of the mafia was exploiting villagers, especially women, by forcing them to work as slaves. Sindhutai reported this to the district collector. Furious, the criminal told Sindhutai's husband a lie. Sindhutai was cheating on him. He claimed she was even having a secret affair with himself. In fact, he said the child she was carrying was not her husband's, but his. Infuriated, Sindhutai's husband kicked his wife in the stomach over and over again until she lost consciousness. Thinking she was dead, he dragged her onto a cowshed to the neighborhoods would assume she had been trampled to death. But one of the cows took pity on her and stood over her to protect her from danger. The cowshed was overcrowded, but this cow didn't allow either animals or humans near Sindhutai. And under that cow, Sindhutai gave birth to a daughter. She cut the umbilical cord with a sharp edged rock. The selfless compassion of the cow had saved her life. Sindhutai embraced the cow and promised she would dedicate her life to helping the helpless. Sindhutai decided to return to her parents' home with her baby. But according to village tradition, a daughter cannot return home after moving into husband's home at marriage. Her parents rejected her. Afraid to be alone and vulnerable to rape and other types of abuse, Sindhutai spent her nights at a riverside cemetery, where corpses were burned under an open sky. Because people thought the place haunted, no one bothered her there. At times, desperate with hunger, she gathered what little wheat flour she had, mixed it with water, and cooked it on top of burning human corpses. Sindhutai contemplated suicide regularly. Late on night, she resolved to throw herself and her baby in front of a moving train. As he prepared to go, the unthinkable, he heard an agonized groan. He followed the noise and found a dying man begging for food and water. At that moment, she said, she heard through that man's cry the voice of God calling her to help the helpless, and she had promised. She realized that instead of killing herself, she could infuse her life with meaning. But broken as she was, what could she do? Sindhutai sat under a tree in a field to think about this. When he looked up, she saw a branch that had been brutally chopped by a woodsman, hanging from the trunk by a splinter. She realized that despite the harm that had been done to the tree's body, the branch was shading her and her baby from the scorching sun. It was then that she discovered her calling. She would become a mother of homeless, orphan children. She began to collect them around her. To feed them, she sang and begged for money on railway platforms. She protected them while they slept in whatever place they could find that was relatively safe. In time, as the number of children grew, pious people arranged to build her a simple structure where she could keep the children safer. She became known as Mother of the Orphans. She strove to give them love, care, and an education, all things she would have denied. Over the years, she mothered over 1,000 orphans. Many of them now lead successful lives as doctors, lawyers, teachers, farmers, and engineers. As people came to know of her work, her biological sons left their father and came to live with her. Today, two of them have earned doctorates, and Sindhutai has received more than 270 awards and been invited to speak in 15 countries. Overcome with emotion in the International Women's Day event, Sindhutai told the captivated audience about her most meaningful accomplishment. Decades after she had been beaten and abandoned, a homeless, sickly 80-year-old man asked her for help. She recognized him, her merciless husband. He asked her forgiveness, and she forgave him. She also gave him shelter in the orphanage, not as his wife, but as a mother. She told her many children to give him your love. He needs it the most. When visitors come, she now introduces him as her eldest son and sometimes adds, he was very naughty son indeed. Much like the trees of life, Sindhutai's life reminds us never to lose hope even in the darkest times. When difficulties come, she says, we should stand and rise above them so they look small. Don't be afraid to go ahead and fight. This was my life, she concludes. My path was full of thorns, so I made friends with those thorns, and my life became simple and beautiful. I first met Sindhutai in 2013, about a year after I had heard her story. We joyfully shared our realizations. She told me she had discovered the magic of her life when, like her own helpless baby, she had cried for God's grace. Just I got up to leave at the conclusion of our conversation, Sindhutai turned my attention to the beaming, energetic young woman sitting quietly beside her. This is one of my daughters, she said. She's become a medical doctor and now oversees one of the orphanages. With a teary smile, Sindhutai added, she was the one born that day under the cow.